What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode Off the Schneid, the bittersweet last Best Ball Mania 5 stream of the hot best ball summer. Down to 4 entries left. I'm going to do them all tonight. I might do 2 on stream. Definitely, obviously, we'll do 1 on stream. And if we get enough likes, we'll do another one. So let's put a banner out there. Let's go like this. Let's do this. $10 likes. 10 likes on the stream. Apologies for being a little bit late. My skip the dishes driver was running a little bit late, looks like. My lips are probably still red for some spicy soup that I had. It was delicious, but I almost choked on it. Got some stains on my shirt because I was eating a little bit too fast. You got to be careful with that sort of stuff. But hey, we got to get live. We got to get streaming. Let's get going. We got to finish up these BBM drafts. So let's get into it. The news is finally official with Brandon Ayuk. So Brandon Ayuk is officially a San Francisco 49er. It's over. We don't need to talk about it anymore, which is great because I'm sick of hearing about it. To be honest with you, I was saying from the start, I never wavered. I was always reiterating Brandon Ayuk is going to be a San Francisco 49er. It just makes sense. And then the further along it got, it looked more and more like he wanted to be a San Francisco 49er and, eventually got his wish, obviously. So before we get into it, let's do a last one final tip of the cap to the sounds of summer. This last stream, last BBM stream, might be the last stream of the summer. We'll see. But Underdog's going to have to launch another tournament for me to stream again. So this very well might be. My cup is a little too big for this single can, but that's okay. I meant to bring 2 cans, but got a little away from me. So cheers, everybody. Hot best ball summer coming to a close. Not bad. So, like I said, Brandon Ayuk's a 49er. I never thought he would not be a 49er. Always drafted him like he was going to be a 49er. What's going on with the Underdog right now? The site crashing or what? What's going on here? It's just black. That's not very good. Let's refresh the stream or refresh the page. There we go. So we're going to jump into a Best Ball Mania. Geez, making me scroll. There we go. Another flock contest. $10, $10K to first, 9 of them. I mean, I'm not gonna hate. I'm not hating on the flock or anything like that. But let's be honest, you can call these tournaments whatever the fuck you want. You could call it Big Mike's super fun contest. It really doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want. If it's going to be a 3 max, $10, if it's this structure, it's going to fill in a day or two. So I'm pretty confident they're going to launch some sort of tournament. And I hope they do, because I don't want this to be the last stream. But if they don't launch another tournament, then this will be the final stream of the summer. But I hope they launch one more, like $20, $25, 5 max, 10 max, something like that would be nice. And I would probably do another stream and max enter that to cap off the summer. But we are just over 95% full. Hit that like button and I'll rip one more. I'll rip 2 tonight, 2 of my 4. I only have 4 remaining bullets. It doesn't even show anymore. Wow. It doesn't, I guess you can't max enter. But regardless, I have 4 more bullets. I'll do 2 tonight if I get 10 likes. If I don't get 10 likes, then I'm doing them off stream. because there's no EV off stream. It's a lot better. I build better teams when I'm not streaming. That's for damn sure. But it's Hot Best Ball Summer. It's the wrap up of Hot Best Ball Summer. Hit that like button for me, and let's have some fun. So again, cheers to all you guys coming out. Appreciate it. Cheers to the summer, and let's get into a draft. Oh, I hate when it does this. I'm not using a VPN or a proxy. So let me enter on my phone here. If you're in the chat and you're looking to draft with me, I am entering right now. And we're in, waiting on 4. Now I can go to active. Here we go. And there we go. Wait on 1. All right. Checking in on Vacay to slap the like. Appreciate it. I'm the nuptials for myself, getting married next Saturday. So just over a week away from the wedding. And then I'm on vacation myself, going to Cabo. So I'm excited for all of that to take place. So I appreciate you checking in. Enjoy your vacation. Hope everything's going well. Good luck in the streets. You need the rest before your 24-hour live stream, which I will definitely be checking out, that's for sure. And especially the last few hours, I want to see how delirious you get, Pat. So yeah, looking forward to that. Putt Daddy, good luck tonight. Drafting home league and watching KU football. Nice. KU, what's the running back name there that looks really good? I'll get into that much later in the season. Don't typically get too far into college football until late in the season. Obviously, NFL football takes precedent, but good luck to you, Putt Daddy, as well. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Again, if you guys are holding the beer, cheers to you guys. Good luck in the best ball streets this year. Hopefully we all drafted a winner and, at least 20K, 50K binks to everybody. All right. We drew the 10 spot. Pretty much always Garrett Wilson these days, unless something crazy happens. I've seen, obviously, Jamar Chase has been just plummeting. If he's there, I will absolutely scoop all of that value and take Jamar Chase. Goes 4th overall here. Oh, that's interesting, but not crazy. I mean, that's his ADP, I suppose. Man, that faux soup was really spicy. My nose is running. I'm a little bit sweaty. I ate too fast. I almost choked. Jeez. Apologies for having to delay the stream, but I had to get some food in me, and I wish I took a little bit more time to eat because that was a little aggressive, if I'm being honest with myself. But hey, what can you do? So it's Bijan or Garrett Wilson. Easy click. Honestly, I'd probably rather Garrett Wilson. I need to get a few more clicks, a little bit more exposure before the tournament wraps up. 4 more bullets, like I said. Can't really do anything too crazy with 4 more bullets, but I'm going to try to even out some exposures, level it out a little bit, and maybe make some interesting, fun builds, do some different things, and see what we can get. Nico is probably on the table here. I can't not click Debo. Even with the Ayuk news, I'm not worried about. I was never worried about Debo. I was always clicking Debo over Brandon Ayuk. Pretty well always. That's why you see the exposure so high. What's my exposure to Ayuk? 10%, above the field. Happy with that. So, and I have them in a bunch of different, kind of unique spots. So definitely happy with that. Gibbs, yeah. Not too worried about Gibbs. I got my 10%. I'm at the field. That's fine. Don't need to force anything there. Drake London with Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'm sure I have that a fair amount. Let's pop into Spike Week quickly just to see. I'd like to get unique with these first couple picks. Barkley goes. That's interesting. So I could go Gibbs, I suppose. I'm sure I have that start though, but let's take a peek at Spike Week. There goes Gibbs. Man, I might just take a share of Marvin Harrison here just because I don't have him a lot, but I did just take him with Garrett Wilson, I think last night. So I don't know if I want to do that. I have a lot with Debo. Still love me some Debo. It's just, let's get some Marvin Harrison in our life. I've been shitting on him all summer. Let's get a couple shares. Let's live a little. Yeah, I have him. I have it once, and I think I got it just last night, where I got a falling Anthony Richardson. Bit of a unique build. Definitely a unique build. I like what I built out last night. So I do want to keep an eye on that a little bit, just so it's not the exact same team that I drafted last night. And realistically, like Debo's the only one that I would have absolutely taken over Marvin Harrison here. So who's left on the board? Yeah, Nico, Olave, Waddle, Cup, whatever. All of those guys. Debo's the only receiver, past, I guess, Marvin Harrison, where I would have taken Debo typically over Marvin Harrison. So what's the big difference between Marvin Harrison and Drake London? Not a crazy amount, in my opinion, even though I don't have very much exposure to Marvin Harrison. It was more because I'm taking guys like Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Garrett Wilson, that sort of a thing, and then a lot of Debo. So, and then mixing in the occasional, obviously, Nico, Devon Achane, Drake London, obviously, in the early second round, Gibbs, right? So, yeah, I don't mind what I'm doing here so far. Like I said, mix in a little more exposure, just in case. I did build out, since I couldn't get the third round, fourth round Cooper Kupp earlier in the summer. Well, I could get it. I just didn't put it together with Marvin Harrison because I wasn't drafting Marvin Harrison. So, I did do a build. I think I was at the 12 spot at the 12-13 where I took Marvin Harrison Jr. and Cooper Kupp. So I pulled Kupp all the way to the 13 pick, right, at the 1-2 turn, and paired him up with Marvin Harrison. So I thought that was relatively unique. But again, you could have gotten Cooper Kupp late in the third round, pick 11 or 12, late in the third round, earlier in the summer, and you really realistically could have paired up Puka, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cooper Kupp, and Trey McBride in one lineup. And I'm sure there are lineups like that. Might even search BBM database on that and see if that build does exist. I'm very confident that it does, and whoever has it, I'm certainly 100 very, very jealous of that start. It's very well done. Do I just take Josh Allen and call it a day? Make it easy? I have obviously a ton of Josh Allen with Garrett Wilson, but again, not unique whatsoever. I don't have him in the draft I took, or the draft I did last night where I got Harrison and Garrett Wilson. I did not take Josh Allen. So that's on the table. I would have much rather DJ Moore. Isaiah Pacheco's on the table. Tank Dell's on the table. I'm actually happy with what I've gotten with Stephon Diggs, 7% just below the field. I'm happy with that. That's right where I want to be. There goes Dell. So if it's not Pacheco, then it's going to be Josh Allen. Atlanta build. Definitely too early to take Terry McLaurin. He can get him with his next pick. So he brings up Rashee Rice. Interesting. I will take Isaiah Pacheco here. Happy to add a few more shares. And then, fingers crossed Josh Allen is there. I don't think I need to force it at all. So let's get Pacheco in there, who I did not draft last night. That's nice. And then hope that Josh Allen falls to me at 39, which is not unreasonable. Like, he was falling to the mid 40s all summer. So we'll see if no one clicks him, but badgeless ABCD 4761. What a generic name. Yeah, of course he takes Josh Allen. Like, obviously a badgeless random, generated name. That's probably a bot or something. I'm kidding. That's not, but Yeah, of course they're going to click Josh Allen. Indianapolis got Philly, went RB. So yeah, classic, makes sense, I suppose. Try to be nice about it. Probably going to be T. Higgins here. I don't think it makes sense to go Zay Flowers unless I feel like Lamar will drop to 58, which is never going to happen. There goes T. Higgins. So that's annoying. I don't want to add more Sam Laporta shares. I don't think there's any real value there. So I guess it's Zay Flowers and then just kind of see what happens with Lamar. I really do not expect him to get back to me. That's for sure. But you never know. Could go George Pickens there, I suppose. I think the Russell Wilson news is good for George Pickens. But realistically, I don't think anything's really changed for the Pittsburgh Steelers or for George Pickens with this Ayuk news and the Russell Wilson news of being confirmed the starter. I think nothing changes for me because that's what I expected on both accounts for the entire summer. I expected Russell Wilson to be the starter. I expected Brandon Ayuk to stay with the 49ers, and I've been drafting as such all summer. So I don't really have much Russell Wilson regardless because I just don't want a large piece of the quarterback of that offense. But that doesn't really change how I feel about either player, Russell Wilson and Brandon Ayuk, or George Pickens, obviously, for that matter, or Deebo Samuel, blah, blah, blah. Trickles down. So we'll see. I mean, for my hope to get Lamar, basically, I've got to get to pick 49 here without either Lamar being picked or Mark Andrews being picked. That's basically what has to happen if I want to, even hope and pray that I can get Lamar Jackson to fall to me. So I exceptionally highly doubt he does, but you never know. This is a good start. I like that. I've done this one myself. You get Christian McCaffrey, obviously, and then you go with a Week 17 matchup, New Orleans, Vegas. So I'm going to be curious how this guy lands this plane. Again, not all badgeless are just brainless zombies out there. It's just, a lot of times they are. So he's probably going to go Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. Hopefully he doesn't. McBride's still on the board, so I guess I have an outside shot at it. There's Jackson and then Mark Andrews. Yeah. So I would definitely take George Pickens. Definitely Trey McBride. Kincaid's on the table. James Cook is on the table. Yeah, let's see what I did last night. So last night I went Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Michael Pittman, Trey McBride at 38. Interesting. Didn't need to bring him up. And I didn't get Kyler, so I just bought into that. But Calvin Ridley was on the squad, Anthony Richardson. So I'd like to get unique from that start and build. If Kincaid is there, I will definitely be taking him. Not that I'm trying to, re-snipe this guy in the 12 hole. It's just that's the pick, falling value. He's my tight end 1/2, 1/2/3, right? He's right there with my top three: Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, and Dalton Kincaid are interchangeable 1, 2, and 3 for me. You can go yell at the wall and fight with the wall about it. I don't really care how you rank them. They're all right there for me. 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do. I have tons of exposure to all three, more than 15% to all three. So I'm happy with that. I think elite tight end is going to be a real difference maker this year. So I'm going to have to go with Calvin Ridley, even though I did take him with this Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison start last night. Obviously, I didn't take Pacheco and Zay Flowers, so I'm already unique to me. That's fine. And he's just the best player on the board right now. So it's Kincaid or Ridley. Easy click. Easy click for me. And it's going to be Kincaid over Ridley. I already have my 3 wide receivers that I'm happy with. He matches up with Garrett Wilson. I could bring in a very exceptionally rare Aaron Rodgers here, I suppose. I think I have like 2%, 1%. Yeah, 1% overall, 2% Aaron Rodgers. I'm just not building a lot of teams where I'm bringing in Aaron Rodgers. There's just, I mean, I guess I could in this situation with Ty Conklin, and then do a 3 tight end build with Ty Conklin and Dalton Kincaid and some other random Colby Parkinson, something like that, an off week 12 bye week kind of a tight end, and another late round tight end, obviously. So that's possible if I really want to do that. I don't think I will. I might just mini game stack Garrett Wilson, Dalton Kincaid. I just am not taking a lot of Aaron Rodgers. There's just really no, reason to, if I'm being honest. Roman Dunze is definitely on the board. Rashad White, not a huge fan of him, but if I'm getting a little bit of falling value, he looked really good in the preseason game, and he is a large piece of that offense. So he goes. Let's go ahead and get some more Roman Dunze in our life. 12%. Yeah, let's go down that road. Unless I want to go Deontay Johnson. Which isn't crazy. Let's go Deontay Johnson, up that exposure a little bit, and then bring in some fun backstack options with Tampa Bay. And Arizona's still on the board. Obviously, Kyler Murray's still on the board. He'd have to fall, which is unlikely, but I'm just trying to open some doors. Because I don't really have any stack options on this build so far. So if I that's the difference between Roman Dunze there and Deontay Johnson. Plus my exposure to Roman Dunze is very healthy, 12%, bunch head of the field. I was happy with Roman Dunze all summer, drafting him all summer, so I'll stick with that. I really hope Stroud doesn't fall, because I will click him, and then I'll be forced to bring it back with Dalton Schultz, who is, right there with my highest exposed tight ends. Again, 16%, 11% David Njoku, 11% Ferguson, 12% Evan Ingram. I'm about 15%, those top 3 that I talked about. Probably 12% Kyle Pitts, something like that. We talked about my exposures last week and how clear it is what I'm doing at the tight end and quarterback positions. But so we don't need to go over that again. But yeah, I don't want to go with Dalton Schultz. I don't want to pick Dalton Schultz, is what I'm getting at. I don't want to pick him anymore unless I absolutely have to, which, I will if I have to. Like if Stroud falls to me and I've got a bring back, and I can bring in a Miami bring back if I choose, pretty easily, it would work out. I'd obviously rather Kyler Murray falls, but not surprised. That makes sense. Connor McBride with the cup bring back. So that's a good pick there. What's the one hole doing there? Jane Reed and Christian Watson. So he's clearly trying to build out Green Bay, which is interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess you don't want to go with either Derek Carr or, Aiden O'Connell / Gardner Minshew / Aiden O'Connell, which is fine. But it'll be interesting how he lands the plane here for bringbacks. Probably not going to be any bringbacks. It's not the end of the world. Just stack it up and see what happens. Coming to the pick. Don't have to go with wide receiver, that's for sure. But I don't mind bringing in Ladd. Man, if Stroud falls to me, I'll just close my eyes and take him. Like, I'm not gonna allow these Houston drafters to get just extreme value on him when he has value to me as well. right? Like, it's not like I'm sniping anybody. He's a full round past his ADP. And there's obvious value in me drafting CJ Stroud. So yeah. I'm not going to just allow a super team over here, Like, where's these guys don't even have Baltimore bringbacks, which is whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. Take CJ Stroud, get some super value on my QB1, pair them up with Zay Flowers in week 17, and then I got Isaiah Pacheco week 16. So that's just fun and extra. I definitely have Schultz that I can bring it back with. I don't want to pick, but it is what it is. Yeah. And then Joe Burrow gets pulled up ahead of ADP, and that is a Stephon Diggs, Houston drafter. So there you go. And Coleman falls to the Josh Allen drafter. That's nice. That's really nice. That's rare. And then he kind of kills it with too many running backs. That doesn't make sense, this pick right here, in my opinion. My humble, could be completely wrong opinion. So what are we doing here? Doors open for a running back. Wide receivers on the table. DeAndre Hopkins looks good here. Yeah, I might as well get some late nuke exposure. Let's go there. That makes sense. So 5 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, and a quarterback. I'm probably going to be good and done at just Dalton Schultz as the pass catcher for the Houston Texans. Realistically, who do you draft? Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie. I mean, John Mechie could be on the table here. He's looked really good in preseason. I always really liked John Mechie. He's Canadian, PS. So, obviously, big fan of the Canadian NFL players. So he could be on the table as a last, 20th round dart throw. That's not the worst thing you can do. Nico Collins has been banged up here and there. Maybe Stephon Diggs struggles in a new offense. Maybe he struggles down the stretch like he did with the Chicago or the Buffalo Bills, right? You can paint a picture that makes sense. So it's on the table. It's on the table. Jordan Love goes. I'm sure the Jaden Reed, Christian Watson drafter would have liked him there, or Jordan Addison would have been nice there. So that's the risk you run. But I mean, Jaden Reed, I think that was some extreme value on Jaden Reed. Yeah, about a round. So that's all right. But to be honest, I think that's probably where he should be going, and probably should have been going all summer. Yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., Jackson Smith, and Jigba, I would probably be advocating taking those two over Jaden Reed as well. So I certainly slowed down. I was drafting Jaden Reed early. I think he was down around the 70s. Then he popped up. Then now he's falling back down. So I think I was drafting him when he was low and then stopped when he rose because it just didn't quite make sense. If Christian Watson hadn't come back or, was struggling with injury or something like that, then I could have justified continuing to take him. But I didn't think that ADP made much sense. So I think I'm still at like 8%, 9%, something like that. But it's not the 12, 14% that I was at earlier in the summer. So what do we want to do? 106 and 111 are the picks. Definitely not Dalton Schultz here yet. Keep him in the queue. Definitely would like to mix in a running back. Chase Brown would make some sense. That's another guy that I slowed down on as his ADP rose. He used to be going in the 120s, and I was gobbling up all the shares I could get at that time. But as he rose, it made less and less sense to select Chase Brown. Brian Robinson, I think, is the better click over Chase Brown. If I'm being honest, I think he was earlier in the summer. He was down a little bit too. Eckler was going ahead of Brian Robinson at one point. I was not taking Eckler then. I was taking Brian Robinson, hence the 14% exposure. And Chase Brown was high too, down to 11%, but that's because as he rose, I stopped clicking. I'm not going to, force him into lineups when there's better options like Brian Robinson Jr. So if B-Rob goes, even Rico Dowdle, I mean, I'm only at 7%, so I definitely wouldn't mind adding some shares there. And there goes Brian Robinson. That makes sense. I wish I could take Jane Daniels, but I can't with the bye weeks. And I'm still probably going to push a Tampa Bay stack at some point. So Chase Brown makes sense here. And then it'll probably be Rico, Dowdle, or Jerome Ford, who, again, I have a ton of value in, 18%. And my ADP, I think, is like 120 something. I think I have like 15 points of value on my average ADP on Jerome Ford. And he's kind of skyrocketing since the Nick Chubb news, which again should not have been a surprise, should not have changed anything for anyone, but it evidently it did. So there you go. Makes sense for this guy to take probably Samuel and Shakir. Yeah, and he does. So he's not a brainless zombie. I just don't. The Aaron Jones click was not a good one. Everything else is fine. So who could he have gone with? I mean, probably would have rathered a tight end or a different quarterback or another quarterback. Sorry, no, tight end or another wide receiver. Yeah, Nuke Hopkins would have been fine. It's Rico Dowdle here. I'm going to go Rico over Jerome Ford. I have a ton of exposure to Jerome Ford, and I like Rico season long. If Nick Chubb does come back and they force the ball to him a little bit, he's going to pull away from Jerome Ford later in the season. If that happens, if it doesn't, I have my exposure. I'm not too worried about it. And then Rico does pair up with Deontay Johnson week 15. Not that particularly matters, but I guess it's a little bit of a tiebreaker over the running back that Jerome Ford would match up with. I'm matching up with a wide receiver, which I would rather do. I would always rather match it up with a pass catcher than a running back. Like sometimes you got to do what you got to do for correlation. But if I'm pairing for correlation, I want to be pairing with wide receivers personally. That's how I look at it, or tight ends, depending on who it is. There you go. Tua to the Waddle drafter. Not a lot of correlation going on here at all. So Diesel, 3 River. Hate to break it to you, but you're a brainless zombie clicking buttons out there, is what it looks like to me. ADP drafting. And just, just get the best player on the board, I guess. Jonathan Brooks, Gus Edwards, Adonai Mitchell. So this is, that's why I was curious how this one hole is going to land this plane. It's not that easy to draft from the one spot, if I'm being honest. It just doesn't. It's tough to get correlation. A lot of people do. I've been not doing this Lamar Andrews stack at the one hole or the two because it just doesn't match up with anything else. And then you have to take Bateman if you want the 2 pass catchers, and then you try to fit in a Houston piece or something. It's just I just don't think it's going to be optimal in any way. I think you're much better off. Like let's say you're the Jamar Chase, Nico Collins drafter here. I think it makes more sense for you to grab, Lamar Jackson and then hope that you can get Mark Andrews at 52, which is not crazy at all. And then you have the bring back, and you could build it that way. I just don't think it makes sense at the turn here, or at the top of the draft, 1-2. I don't think it makes sense to do this with Mark Andrews and Lamar. That's something that I've basically completely gotten away from. It just doesn't make sense to me personally. Dalton Schultz here. Yeah, make it easy on myself. The bottom of the draft doesn't have, those guys don't have any tight ends, so I kind of have to take him here. And then I might be done at tight end. I might take Cade Otton, but I'd have to get a couple more running backs or wide receivers that I really like to justify, picking 3 tight ends. Dalton Schultz, easy peasy. I'll definitely go Jalen Polk if he's there. Definitely not Pat Freiermuth. I don't think I need any more Ty Chandler, and I don't want any more. I'll take Zach Charbonnet, I suppose. I'd really like Jalen Polk to be there. Not very likely he is, though. Interesting. Yeah. Eckler. So hopefully Polk falls to me. That's the only thing that makes sense right now. There's really no other click here. I don't want to take Ty Chandler more than I already have him. I've got every option kind of possible with Ty Chandler shares. So fingers crossed I get Jalen Polk. If not, we'll pull up Zach Charbonnet, I suppose. Ugh. Yeah, let's go Zach Charbonnet. That allows me to stop at 5 potentially, but I think it's still too soft of an RB room to stop at 5. I think I've backed myself into 6 running backs. And I honestly think this is too fragile of a wide receiver room to stop at 7. So I might have to abort the. I could still take Jalen McMillan with Baker Mayfield. What I'd really like to do is if Matt Stafford could fall to me, I would definitely take Matt Stafford because I've got a built-in bring back with Marvin Harrison. Then I can always backstack with Whittington, Demarcus Robinson, potentially Colby Parkinson if need be, but I'd rather not take a third tight end. So yeah, I kind of left that door open. I left that light on for myself. So fingers crossed that Matthew Stafford will fall. If not, I guess Aaron Rodgers would make sense. If I had to, I'd really rather not. I'd really, really rather not. Deshaun Watson just kind of scares me. I've got 5%. I'm happy to be there. I don't want to be forcing any Deshaun Watson, considering his lack of health. Baker certainly is the guy that I kind of want. And then Jalen McMillan is what makes sense to round that out if Matt Stafford is not there. If he doesn't fall, which he very well could. 2 quarterbacks here. Brock Purdy. He's got Debo, I guess, and Kittle and Jameson Williams. Okay, so he's not just clicking buttons out there. Does he have Arizona? No Jets. So it's possible that it can slip by this 1 QB here. 2 QBs, 2 QBs, 2 QBs. Richardson, wow, just shitting green. 6 straight running backs, eh? Interesting. Sure. If you really believe in Jamar Chase, Nico, and Mike Evans, and George Pickens, I suppose. This is just a lot of, like, I don't want to call them dead squares, but, like, to be honest, there's a few kind of dead squares out there. As long as this guy doesn't take Matthew Stafford, I should have a good shot at him. Or this guy. This is the last pick. There he goes. That's the last pick that I thought I had to get through to be able to get Matthew Stafford to fall. So it's going to be Baker and Jalen McMillan here. And then do I take Baker first or McMillan first? Chris Godwin. And he's got 1 quarterback. So I probably go. Wow, and he took Matthew Stafford over Justin Herbert. Interesting. Wow, and then three quarterbacks go in that range. Interesting. Caleb, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert, not necessary. So just super brainless clicking buttons. You gotta hate it. I'm sorry, but it's just not good process. Let's go Baker first because I don't want him to go right here and get scooped on me by the Chris Godwin drafter. Could still take Chris Godwin. Yeah, I have to do it, and he's gonna feel bad and be really pissed off at me, but that's how she goes. Unlikely he takes McMillan unless he really just wants to screw me over, which is fine. You're hurting yourself as well. There's Jordan Mason getting pulled up. I don't think I can sacrifice a running back or a quarterback to take Cade Otton, but I might. I might do that. And then even Jalen Tolbert and my guy Quentin Johnston makes some sense here. I guess week 14 bye week for my 5th. There goes Bucky, which is fine, not who I wanted. So that's, I mean, you got to figure he's taking him because he's upset with me. I don't know. And he thinks that's who I was going to take. That just doesn't make sense. It's fine if you take Bucky and Rachaad White on the same team, but I probably wouldn't want Chris Godwin on that same squad. But again, he's probably pretty butthurt at me for taking Baker Mayfield, but I made it make sense with the Jalen McMillan pick. So, and I could still bring in Cade Otton if I so desire. But I mean, Kamani Vidal would make some sense with the Tampa Bay as well. And then I might have to stop unless I'm comfortable enough with this wide receiver room, which I don't know. I don't think I am. We'll see. We'll see how this ends up. But Cade Otton is certainly on the table. or Kamani Vidal. Kind of regardless, I'll take one of those two right here, depending on who's there, who's not. And we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. Let's take a look at this board again here. So what did this guy do? JK and Gus Edwards, interesting. I probably would rather have one of those two, JK or Gus Edwards, and Kamani Vidal at this point, especially at this point in the draft season. But yeah, so this again, this is the issue with the one seed or the one hole. Sorry, the one spot. He brings it back with Xavier Leggett and Jonathan Brooks, but no Tampa Bay bring back. Then he's stuck with a couple naked Green Bay. You know, it's not, again, it's not easy. It's not particularly desirable to be in the one spot. It's easier to do it with CD Lamb because you can always get, let's say, Jake Ferguson and then Dak here. You'd have to pull up Jake Ferguson, but that's fine, completely fine. And then you can get Dak at ADP. And a lot of times you can get Devontae Smith. Most times you get Devontae Smith, you know. So I'd rather, for that reason, for building, for roster construction's sake, I'd rather be picking CD Lamb at this point, and pretty much at any point realistically, even though I have much more exposure to CMC than I do to CD Lamb. It's just easier to build and easier to construct your roster around CD Lamb before it is to Christian McCaffrey. That's just kind of how I feel about it. This is a great start. But then I really wouldn't recommend going Lamar and Andrews because it's just, you just back yourself into a corner of not being able to have much flexibility from there. That's just how I see it. So I've stopped doing it. So unfortunately, Kamani Vidal goes. I guess I wish I had 19 rounds in this draft is what I wish I had. QJ makes some sense with my second pick. Demarcus Robinson makes some sense. Jordan Whittington, obviously, a little later though. This guy could take Otten. No, takes okay. So let's bring in Kate Otten for the correlation, for the stack. And then I'm going to bring in QJ, and then I'm stacked up with the Buccaneers. I really don't like this taking 3 tight ends, especially the capital that I've sunk in. I did get a falling Kincaid, but I don't need 3 with Kincaid and Schultz or Kincaid and Otten. I really don't need 3. I've probably even taken Schultz and Otten in a 2 tight end build. But yeah, what are you going to do? So I have to shed a wide receiver or a running back. Let's take QJ. He's viable click again, I think. Man, it's just so dry at running back this late. Like, another thing with that is it's so dry that I don't even really want to take 2 of these guys. I guess I could take Cam Akers. I guess. That's pretty soft. I think Audric Estime would make some sense in this build. But like I mean, Manuel Wilson, Trey Sermon, Isaac Rendo, I'm still rocking above the field, 8%, 7% probably by the end of it. Way ahead on Eric Gray. Tyler Goodson, that's not going to happen. Yeah, it just gets so dry. I mean, Blake Watson did make this team, but that's competing with directly with Jaleel McLaughlin, that's for sure. Who I have a ton of. I like Blake Watson a lot as a player. I just honestly, if I'm being honest, he's not a viable option. So that doesn't make sense. It just gets so dry down here. Jordan Mims potentially could be on the radar. Yeah. Shipley, I suppose I could click, but I really don't like that click at all. Estime goes. Roshan, I've stopped clicking altogether. Pretty much everybody has. I've got too much Kendre, if I'm being honest, at 5%. Jeez, it just gets so dry down here. So, do I think I'm good at 7 wide receivers? Honestly, I think I have to be good. I think I have to be good at 7 wide receivers here. Because this is too fragile for me to stop at 5. That's just how I see it personally. It's crazy that Jordan Whittington's getting drafted over Demarcus Robinson a lot these days. That's something I've noticed in the past couple days as we wind down here. Obviously, there's the preseason buzz, preseason fodder, which, Demarcus Robinson is not playing in, but that should be a sign that he's more valuable than Jordan Whittington, if I'm being honest. But I get it with the Puka Nacua stuff. Either way, I have been picking Jordan Whittington, but I have way more Demarcus Robinson, and I would pick Robinson over Jordan Whittington. So that's just interesting, something that I've noticed in the past few days as we wind down here. I guess this is Cam Akers, and there he goes. So it's just so fragile. So like my what I'm battling with in my head is, does it matter if I get one of these running backs? Do I even see a running back that could bust off if he gets an opportunity? Is there even that guy left that I haven't picked a bunch of? Like Isaac Rendo, I'm good there. Dylan Lowry, I'm happy at 4%. Gray, I've got a ton. I guess I'm going to take Emmanuel Wilson here. I've got a little bit of him in the big board before the NFL draft. I have a fair amount of Emmanuel Wilson. So let's just lean into that logic and he made the team. He is RB2 more or less right now if Marshawn Lloyd is a little banged up. I think I got to do it. Even if we don't get to 10 likes, guys, I think I'm going to do another draft. This is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not liking this draft at all. I don't think I can end the hot best ball summer with this draft. I just can't do it. This is leaving such a poor taste in my mouth that I got to take a sip. I just don't like anything that's happened here. I don't like this build. I mean, yeah, it's structurally sound, I suppose, because my Tampa Bay stacks like could advance, it could do some stuff, but I guess we take Trey Sermon here and just puke in our mouth a little bit. Ugh, that's really yucky. That's a really yucky squad that I've just built, in my opinion. I have not missed 2 consecutive picks. I don't know what we're talking about here. I have 1 slow going. That's interesting. Kind of a little glitch in the matrix there. My last pick in this slow, I think I'm going to take a wide receiver. But we won't worry about that. I'm going to go get myself another adult beverage for the boys. And then we're going to rip another draft because I can't let that be the last draft if this is the last episode of Hot Best Ball Summer. So I'll be right back. We're going to rip another draft. All right, we're back. So we're going to rip another draft. That one was just too ugly to end on. If this is the last stream of Hot Best Ball Summer, I can't end on that. So sounds of summer. Pour it in the cup. And we're going to rip one more Best Ball Mania. 3 left now. 3 drafts. After we do this one, I'll have 2 remaining, which I'm going to do tonight after the stream. So let's jump in. As long as this doesn't do silly things and make me enter it on my phone. Down to 95.3%, like 30,000 entries. Waiting on 4, waiting on 3. And we're off. This is the first time, 9-hole. This is the first time I've max entered Best Ball Mania. Expectations are pretty high. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. All I want realistically, I just want one shot. If I'm being realistic, the math says once every 10 years, if you max enter Best Ball Mania, once every 10 years, you'll make the finals. So all I want is one. If I can get one team into the finals in Best Ball Mania and have one shot at $1.5 million, that's all I ask for. I also get your money back. If you make one team to the finals, you get your money back for a max enter. So that's all I want is one shot, and we'll see what happens. So expectations are pretty high. I'd be pretty disappointed if I don't get one in the finals, if I'm being honest. Again, math says, odds say I don't, but I'm pretty optimistic that I'm able to do that. Happy to be 9, because then I get an option between AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson, and I will definitely be going AJ Brown. I have been all summer. He's the more sure option, in my opinion. And might get a little creative. I don't know. Yeah, of course, he's not playing the preseason. That's fine. Jamar Chase doesn't fall again. That's interesting. 2 drafts in a row, top 5. I got him the other night, I think, at 9, which was cool. Definitely got a unique start when I got him. I don't remember who I drafted him with, but it was definitely a unique start getting Jamar Chase that late. So do I take Bijan over? I do. Well, he's there anyways. That's perfect. I would have taken Bijan over Garrett Wilson for sure. So Bijan at 9. I like that. That's actually pretty, I wouldn't say unique for me, but Bijan goes top 3, top 10, top 5 all the time. So I would like to get a unique start with them. I think I have them with JT for sure. Wow, I don't. That's what I will do if he's there. I don't have that combination, so I'll take it. I'm sure I have him with Debo because I have Debo with everybody. Yeah, 4 times I have that combination. Gibbs, I probably have that. Maybe not. Once I do have that start. He's gone anyway. So it's still Jonathan Taylor. Nico. I have that 1 time, so that might be worth doing. I'm positive I have him with Barkley a few times. Only twice. Wow. Huh. I don't want to go with the Drake London. I have that unless I only have it 3 times or less. I only have it twice. Okay, so it's JT. Perfect. That's the way I want to go about it. That's what I wanted. I want more exposure. It's a unique start. RB, I'm fine with that. Little bit interesting. Again, definitely unique. We'll see who's there at 33. But I wouldn't be opposed to taking 3 straight running backs. I really wouldn't. I've definitely built like that. I've built like that on stream, right? So I don't, especially if there's some falling value. Like realistically, I got value with Bijan. I got value with Jonathan Taylor. So if there's more value to be had, let's say potentially Pacheco. Do I have Bijan with Pacheco at all? Probably not. 1 time. Okay. So, Metcalf is definitely on the table. What pick are we? 33. Amon-Ra Debo, that's the dream. I've got so many starts like that. So that's my kind of if I do get one team in the finals, I want it to be one of my Debo, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Kittle, Ayuk, something like that with the quarterbacks, right? The San Francisco, Detroit game stack week 17. That's what I would really like the most, obviously. That should be a really exciting game in week 17. So we'll see. Brandon Ayuk moves up in this draft. Interesting. The 2 holdouts that just signed a contract. That's interesting. Yeah, sorry, where are we here? So Pacheco on the table, I suppose. Don't want to go with Michael Pittman in this build. DJ Moore would definitely be a quick and easy click. DK for sure. I would take Mike Evans in this. I would definitely take Kyron in this. Rashee Rice, 26th overall. Interesting start. CeeDee Lamb, Ayuk, and Rice, the most controversial wide receivers all summer. Well, he'll probably take Jordan Addison or something. We'll see. There goes Metcalf. There goes Evans. I would take Devontae Smith, but I would take DJ Moore over Devontae Smith. There he goes anyways. And then I guess it's Pacheco. Unless I want to go tank. Doesn't make sense to go Josh Allen here for me. I mean, I guess I could take Derrick Henry, but I don't really want to overlap my bye weeks with these. If I'm going with this type of like bully running back build, I'd rather not overlap bye weeks because I'm probably going to stop at maybe 4 and definitely 5. No question 5. So let's bring in Pacheco. And then see where this goes. So I could stop at 4 running backs here for sure. We'll see if I do, depending on who my 4th is, but no more than 5. And that's not a question whatsoever. So I've opened the door to take 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, 9 wide receivers. Let's see how this kind of plays out. But I definitely like, as we get closer to the season, I'm pretty partial to taking running backs early. What just happened in that earlier draft, the last draft that we just did, dried out completely at running back. You box yourself out, and then you end up taking a plethora of bad running backs to try to make up for it and just throw some volume at it. If I'm throwing volume at any position, I want it to be wide receiver, because I think that there's some value at the end of the draft to be had. There's some dart throws that you can take, and it doesn't necessarily exist with running back. Not in the 17th and 18th rounds. Not likely, unless there's someone who super falls. So I really don't mind just checking off running back early, and I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the draft, essentially. So now, realistically, I could wait till round 17 and 18 to get some running backs, 2 running backs, stop at 5, and I'm happy because I just bullied my way to this RB start. So 57 is the next pick. I'm not going to go tight end. It's going to be T. Higgins. It's who I was hoping to pick last draft. Not that I'm really a huge T. Higgins guy or anything like that. Quite the opposite, actually. But it makes sense here and opens the door for what I consider to be an elite quarterback later on in the draft, where I can get some value on quarterback, with T. Higgins on the roster. So I like the start. I'm obviously gonna have to catch up a little bit at wide receiver. Hopefully Calvin Ridley's there, matches up with what I'm doing. If not, I could maybe be talked into Rachaad White or Kenny Gainwell. Sorry, Kenny Walker. Terry McLaurin would be at the top of the list, but he will be gone. Pickens would be at the tippy top of the list, but they will both be gone by the time it gets back to me. Yeah, you reach that far for Rashee Rice, you're taking Patrick Mahomes. That's for sure. And then probably Xavier Worthy, I would imagine, is who he's clicking here. Almost certainly. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea to go George Pickens instead. Oh, there he goes. That maybe wouldn't have been the worst idea, and then go Hollywood Brown. And he doesn't go Xavier Worthy. Interesting. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I guess you could still go again Hollywood Brown with Pickens out of the picture. That would have been nice, though. I haven't seen too much. Again, maybe Best Ball Database is worth checking out if there's any Pickens with a Mahomes double stack, either Kelsey, Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, any of those guys combined kind of thing. No, not James Cook. If I take a running back again, if I take a 4th running back this high, then I'm done. I'm done at 4. So I don't want to overlap bye weeks. I really don't. If it made sense with some crazy correlation, sure, I could be talked into it, but there's nothing there for correlation. So I'm just trying to be done, but it's obviously Calvin Ridley first. Yeah. I suppose I could go, I guess, Keenan Allen, but he's the one that's more likely to fall over Rome Odunze. I guess I could take Mark Andrews here. I don't really have much exposure there, especially without Lamar Jackson. But one of these two are the click. And it's got to be Calvin Ridley. Easy click. Happy with that. I mean, I will take Rachaad White if he's still there. But I'd rather one of these Chicago pass catchers. There he goes. BTJ makes some sense. Yeah. Rather not pull Evan Ingram that far up. But I guess we'll see who's there. Odunze goes. See, Keenan Allen's the more likely faller of these Chicago wide receivers right now. So if I went that route, it would have been Rome Odunze at 57 and then hope that Keenan Allen, Fat Keenan, falls to 64, which he still might. That's for sure. But BTJ is probably the click now over Keenan Allen. I would have taken Rome Odunze over Brian Thomas, but and there he goes. That's good. So Brian Thomas Jr. is what makes the most sense here. Wow, James Cook is really falling. Can I talk myself into stopping at 4 or picking an 18th round running back? I don't know. Evan Ingram goes before Brian Thomas. Okay. Interesting. Kamara. Wow. Oh, that's some really good value on James Cook. But if I'm trying to build a proper structure, it's Brian Thomas Jr. So let's just focus on structure, roster construction. It's not like I don't have exposure to James Cook. That's some extreme value now. Wow. This guy needs to be taking James Cook. Wow. Did I miss something? Did I miss something on James Cook? What's going on there? That's some great value. Great value. I'm probably going to have to battle this guy on on Joe Burrow. So let's see where he's at. I guess if he does not pick him at 77, which would be bringing him up, I should have a shot and I can get him at 88 here, but I would not push him any further because there's no quarterback here yet, obviously. Doesn't look like he's building towards, anything that forces, Dallas or Miami. So, yeah, it's going to have to be right here for Joe Burrow if I want him, which I do. The real pain in the ass is I actually I guess I could go the Tennessee side and go Joe Burrow, Will Levis, or it's Trevor Lawrence and Will Levis. No, I don't want to do that. So it's got to be Burrow and Will Levis is kind of the way I'm looking at it. So I would like to get DeAndre Hopkins and Joe Burrow, I guess, is what makes sense here. Question mark. And then maybe I can bring in David Njoku right here at the 105. Maybe. And there goes Hopkins, so I don't really need to worry about it. That's frustrating. So that changes things. Hopkins goes early. Stroud is still on the board again. Really silly stuff. If this is the case, I'd bring in Kyler over Stroud. Wow. Let's bring in Cortland Sutton. Because I'm going to plan on the Joe Burrow. And let's build that game stack. I don't have a lot of Cortland Sutton, so build it out where I'm stacking. As long as Joe Burrow doesn't go, which he shouldn't, because there's these two falling quarterbacks that make more sense for these guys. That is just lovely. Worked out perfectly for this Houston drafter. Jacksonville as well. So I would be battling with him for Brian Thomas or for Trevor Lawrence, but I would get the first kick at the can, I guess, right here, which I wouldn't do. So it'd be at the 112, which would be after he drafts 110. In which case, I would probably try to push him to 129, but then I want Gabe Davis. A lot of interesting scenarios happening here. So either way, I'm just going to take Joe Burrow as long as he doesn't get sniped on me here for no good reason. No good reason. Of course. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Okay. I am going to take Tony Pollard, start building out the Tennessee side of this with my Brian Thomas Jr. bringback. And then I probably go the Denver side of this Cincinnati in Indianapolis game. But that's going to mean 3 quarterbacks, which is fine because I'm max taking 5 running backs, not the end of the world. Why would you take Joe Burrow here? Oh my God. Brainless zombies out there just clicking buttons randomly. 2 week, 12 quarterbacks. You just killed yourself. This team is useless now. Might advance, which would be hilarious. At least I still have some options. I've still got tons of options here. Tons of options. No need to panic. Just really annoying. Just really annoyed and frustrated with some of the decisions that are made that really just don't make any sense. That's what frustrates me the most. Maybe Swift or Zamir White. Probably Dobbs. Josh Palmer would make some sense, actually. And there he goes. Ramondre doesn't make, 20 picks past ADP. That makes him make a little bit of sense. Javonte would make some sense, but I'd probably rather bring in another pass catcher if I'm going with the Denver side. This was kind of why I wanted a Chicago pass catcher, but that's how she goes. Khalil Shakir makes some sense. So, well, actually, now I have to go with Trevor Lawrence. That makes sense. I'm glad Shakir went. Actually, it eases the decision because this drafter here is pretty likely to take Trevor Lawrence. So I might just take him right here, pull him all the way up. At least I've got, a game stack here with Tennessee, Jacksonville. A nice little game stack. Bring in Gabe Davis, pull him up early as well. That's fine. There's a running back range still. I guess Jacoby Myers would be a good click here too. But then I'm hoping that Gabe Davis falls. I guess I could still go with Parker Washington, who I do quite like. Jacoby Myers does make a fair amount of sense and does pair up with my Jacksonville stack as well. So let's do that and just hope that Gabe Davis falls to us. And if not, then Parker Washington's still always kind of on the board, on the table. So I've left the door open to be completely done at running back here. So that brings some flexibility. Almost certainly going to have to be 3 tight ends. I might just go with a 3 late tight end type of build. There's some good value on some of these running backs. Well, Brian Robinson. Super value on Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah. Where are we at? We're on the clock. So it's going to be Jacoby. Let's go with Jacoby Myers here. Continue to catch up at wide receiver. I think I've done a pretty good job at catching up considering we started 3 running backs, right? I think I've done a pretty good job at catching up. Wide receiver 2, potentially wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 with lots of upside, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, lot of floor, a lot of correlation too, which is nice. But a lot of floor plays with some spike week, potential mixed in here too. And then just solid at running back. So yeah, I don't mind. I hate having to reach up for Trevor Lawrence. That's for sure when you get him to fall into the 130s. But I just thought it made sense getting sniped and the way this room is going. You got a few guys that are just clicking buttons randomly. So I just can't trust. I just can't trust some of these guys to make the correct decision, if I'm being honest with you. But I mean, and in fairness, the correct decision for this drafter would have been to take Trevor Lawrence with Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, bring in Trevor Lawrence. So, and probably with this pick right here. Because he had 2 picks before I pick at 112. So just I felt like I had to do it. And then I hoped that this running back run was going to happen. This is actually exactly what I wanted to see with needing Gabe Davis on this roster. I'm happy to see that running back run. And then I just hope that there's not, a yellow pissin contest here. There goes Gabe Davis. So it's going to be Parker Washington late. And that's okay. That's more than fine. I'm probably just going to continue to catch up at wide receiver. I'm going to bring in Will Levis, but I'm also going to bring in Bo Nix on this build. So it's probably wide receiver. It's probably Jalen Polk. So I'm probably going 3 quarterback, 3 tight end. So the fairly rare, that means I can probably still get 8 wide receivers, which is nice. There goes Polk, which is annoying. Very, very annoying. So I guess I bring in Dallas Goedert. but I'm not really pleased with this oblique. He's constantly banged up. So let's go with Pat Freiermuth. And just kind of, I have to take someone, and I don't want to reach way the F down for one of these wide receivers. Just don't think that that makes a lot of sense or is good process at all. So let's go Pat Freiermuth. And then I'm probably going to do a 3-4-8-3. Probably the first time I've ever built that kind of a structure. But I'm already happier with this squad, if I'm being honest. Especially like if I can get Will Levis and Bo Nix, then I'm quite a bit more happy. And I'm going to reach on them 160 and 177. Yeah, I'm probably going to reach on them, pull them up in order to get both of them. But I'm not taking him here. So Michael Wilson, I suppose. I really didn't want to take Schultz, but man, it makes sense. Like I kind of have to. I have to pick someone, and I don't really want to scroll down to, Michael Wilson. I don't really want Michael Wilson in this build. I want another Denver pass catcher. I want Parker Washington. So I have one free option at wide receiver, essentially. And I'm not just going to pick Michael Wilson because he's the next man up. It just doesn't make sense. I don't love having to pick Dalton Schultz here, but it does make sense. It does make sense. I don't need a Tennessee tight end. I don't need a Denver tight end. I don't need a Jacksonville tight end. So that's what I got to do. I really don't want to. I really don't love it, but that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's just what I'm going to do. It's a little frustrating. I don't love that, but that's fine. Like if I didn't have so much exposure to Dalton Schultz, I'd like it a lot more because I just don't want to click him right now. I really don't. But he does kind of fall into my lap. And, I do see a similar amount of production, even though they brought in more pass catchers. There's more competition. I get it. But I still think that the opportunity remains for him to do, at the very least, exactly what he did last year with missing some games. So 120 points for a tight end, that's fine. In a timeshare, a 3 tight end room, that's another reason why I kind of feel like I had to click him, because I'm going to bring in 3 tight ends, and I know that. So my next 2 clicks, nope, not quite. I'm going to go hopefully wide receiver here at 153, and then Will Levis, and then Bo Nix, and then we're laughing. So my Tennessee is fully stacked up. My Denver could be 153. Basically, it's got to be Jalen Tolbert or it's got to be Jalen Tolbert, or I pull somebody up, I guess. And I think I'm done at running back. I'm just gonna leave it there. I think that that's strong enough. First 3 picks were running backs. Add in Tony Pollard, who I think is a good value. I really kind of just want to pick Quentin Johnston here. But if that's the case, I'll just take Will Levis, I guess. This is just a weird one. And how many quarterbacks are left? Lots. Wow. I don't love that. Yeah. I mean, I can do whatever the hell I want, obviously. But what am I doing? Parker Washington. I'm going to select. Guess I could just go with Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence. I do have the other side of that Tennessee game. So, but my next two picks are going to be quarterback. So 184, which is right where Quentin Johnston is. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to go Jalen Tolbert because it makes the most sense. I don't feel like you got to be reaching like that. I guess it is get your guy season. It's at the end of the draft cycle, you know. I guess I don't have to take 3 tight ends. I don't think I gave myself that out realistically. Yeah. I guess I could just stick to 2 tight ends. I don't need another tight end at all. I was thinking Ty Conklin, you know. I don't have much exposure at all to Ty Conklin. And where is he? Did he go? Oh, there he is. So I think I have 1 share of Ty Conklin. But that's who I had on mind anyways. We'll see when it gets there. So it's Will Levis here to get that out of the way. The get your guys season continues. Will Levis. Then with my next pick, I'm going to bring it back with Bo Nix. And if he's still there, Quentin Johnston. Then I'm fully stacked up except for the Jets here, which I don't care about. That's fine. Not that I need to be stacked up with Denver and Tennessee anyways. It's just how I'm building, and it does make sense to do it. I think that Quentin Johnston's fully viable. We've been talking about it for the last, week or so, a couple episodes in a row. I think Quentin Johnston's fully a viable click right now in best ball. So I'm not afraid to click the name. What was this guy doing here? Joe Burrow brought it back with Jermaine Burton. Okay, cool. But what are you doing at quarterback? Because this just doesn't make sense. This is just it's one of the worst processes you can see. Just 2 quarterbacks with the same bye week. You can't do that. Obviously, you can't make trades. So not sure what your plan is, if I'm being honest with you. Not sure what you're planning on doing for bye week 12. You could just punt it, obviously, but the reality is, like, how often is Joe Burrow going to enter your lineup with Josh Allen, right? Like, when you pick Josh Allen, it really doesn't matter who you are, your quarterback 2 is. It really doesn't matter much at all. You could put almost anybody in that QB2 spot and be fine. So it's just not good process to take a second quarterback that early at all, realistically. Like the Jalen Hurts drafter just took his second QB in round 14. Got Jalen Hurts almost a full round later, and then didn't take his QB2 until 10 rounds later. That's good process. Red badge makes sense. Philly. Seattle. Yeah. It's a good process. It makes sense. It's a solid way to go about it. Patrick Mahomes drafted Dak. Not really. I mean, got Jake Ferguson and CD. Should have taken Devontae Smith right here, but I guess that's with Patrick Mahomes. I guess you could have taken Smith here with Brandon Ayuk, but I guess he's not planning that far ahead, maybe. I don't know. Rico Dowdle, obviously bringing in a lot of Dallas. So that would have made way more sense to pick Devontae Smith right here instead of Brandon Ayuk. But whatever. Whatever. What are you going to do? Wow. 30 picks for Matt Stafford. Oh, yeah. This is a crazy room, and I'm just not able to take advantage of the value. That's really hurting my feelings. I guess I could have switched it up, could have changed things, but yeah. Such extreme value on Matt Stafford, but it is what it is. I've kind of made my bed. I've made my decision, and this is the direction that I'm going to take it. Hopefully Quentin Johnston's still there with my next pick. If not, I guess, Greg Dortch I'll take. If I'm one of these guys, I'm taking Matthew Stafford and DeMarcus Robinson. Maybe this guy thinks he just sniped me on Marvin Mims, but that's not who I was going to be taking at all. Yeah, I would be taking Matt Stafford. Maybe not this guy. If I were this guy, I would have taken Matt Stafford and DeMarcus Robinson, or Matt Stafford and Jordan Whittington. I don't really care, but I would have taken Matt Stafford if I had those two quarterbacks personally. And this guy, Matt Stafford, would have made tons of sense, but hey, zombies will be zombies. Wow. Dyami Brown. Unstacked. Interesting. So it's Quentin Johnston or Greg Dortch if I have to, but Quentin Johnston for sure. And then I'm feeling pretty good about my correlation. That's for damn sure. There goes Matt Stafford. There you go. That did make some sense. Okay. So Quentin Johnston. And then probably, so I should have two more picks if I am correct, and I do. So it's Parker Washington and a guy that I really like personally. It's a fair amount of risk, but obviously it could be a zero. Obviously. Could be a zero or it could be a bit of a smash. We will see. Time will tell. And that's Devon Vele. That's who I'm going to take. Over Troy Franklin, yes. Over Josh Reynolds? Probably. I just think at this point in Josh Reynolds' career, we know who he is. We know what he is. And this, isn't likely to win you Best Ball Mania. Did just have a bit of an Achilles issue. That doesn't mean it was torn or anything like that. It's just what we've been hearing out of Sean Payton about Devon Vele lately. He's the type of guy that loves a couple things. Sean Payton likes to galaxy brain the NFL, right? That we know about Sean Payton. He also likes to find talent. He likes to find talent that no one else can find, like Taysom Hill, like all the undrafted players, like even Alvin Kamara, who went late, even Michael Thomas, who was a second round pick, right? A lot of guys that are somewhat or, quasi or even just a little bit overlooked. Drew Brees, right? All these guys that are a little bit overlooked, but, Michael Thomas, again, second round pick. Maybe he deserved to be a first round pick. I don't know, but regardless, Marquise Colston, another example, 7th round pick. I think you could look at Devon Vele and see Marquise Colston. That's what I think. And we know that if he loves a player, he'll get him on the field. He will get him on the field. He will get him running routes. He will get him touches. And he loves Devon Vele. So, yeah, I might just be taking him over Josh Reynolds. I'm 0% Reynolds right now. I have tried to click him a couple times, and I've gotten sniped on him, which is hilarious. But I have gotten sniped on him a couple times. Troy Franklin has fallen apart a little bit, and it seems like Valet should move ahead of him. 3%. I pretty much got him in all of Best Ball Mania. That's where this 1% comes from, because he's obviously a late kind of round flyer type of guy for me. So the real question is, do I need Parker Washington? And really, it all depends on Christian Kirk, who has been a little bit banged up. Let's just stick to our guns. Why not? We've come this far. Let's draft like we're right. Let's go Parker Washington. Let's go Devon Valet. Let's draft like we're right. It's the last Best Ball Mania stream. Let's live a little bit. Let's go. Get your guys season. And Devon Valet is a little bit my guy right now. Just a little bit. He's one of my guys right now. So get your guys season. Fuck it. Let's go. And I am going to stop at 2 tight ends. That's the biggest kind of question mark with my squad. But 2 quality floor tight ends, like, you really don't need much. If I get 8 points week in, week out, 6 to 8 points even. If I get 6 to 8 points out of Pat Freiermuth and Dalton Schultz with the occasional 14-point spike, that should be enough from that position to get me through. I kind of killed it with volume a little bit at the wide receiver spot. I feel like I did a really good job catching up, considering I started with 3 straight running backs. I think I did a good job of catching up and, getting wide receiver 1s and 2s across the board potentially. And then a couple dart throws late that correlate and match up. So yeah, let's just draft like we're right. Take some big swings. Super correlated. Nobody's picking Devon Valet. So like I have like 4 or 5 shares, and I might be the most exposed person in Best Ball Mania. So yeah, that would be interesting if Jordan Whittington didn't get drafted at all. Baker and Cade Otton don't get drafted at all. Wow. This is a bit of a wild room. This is one of the wilder rooms I've seen in a little while. So I'm actually excited to draft my last 2 Best Ball Mania teams. There goes Baker Mayfield, and Hayden Hurst goes over Cade Otton. That's silly considering. I'm excited to draft my last 2 squads. I'll tell you that much, because it's getting a little wild out there in the streets. What do we got left for time-wise on the tournament? 95.4. 30,000 entries left. Not a lot. That's going to go pretty quick. It'll probably fill potentially after tomorrow night. I'm probably going to get these drafts in right now. Maybe I'll leave one till tomorrow. We'll see. But either way, that's going to be it for Best Ball Mania streaming for the season. Hot Best Ball Summer Season 1 in the books. It was fun. Had a good time. A lot of good viewers in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you. Maybe I'll do one more stream before the end of the season completely. We'll see. I'm at 19 episodes, so I wouldn't mind getting the 20th episode rounded out and make it an even number. but we'll see if another tournament gets launched, and it would have to be this weekend. After that, I'm way too busy getting married. It is what it is. But that's the last episode for Best Ball Mania Summer. Regardless, we'll see you guys soon. I'm sure if this is the last episode, we'll be back for playoff best ball and then the big board. And then next year, we'll be back for Hot Best Ball Summer Season 2. So we'll leave it like we always do, like I always say on Off the Schneid. If you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight we were right, and we'll bank a big one. We'll see you on the next one. Good luck in the streets. Good luck in basketball this year. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you.